Okay, let's get this going. Gonna had to move the stream early up this week, just a couple days. I'm gonna go visit my family for Father's Day, plus I imagine that the normal stream on Sunday being Father's Day probably wouldn't go too well with a lot of other people. I don't want to put any idea of oh my god, I gotta put my god damn it, I my volume of my stream going through my goddamn microphone so people could here be an annoying echo for some reason. But anyway, yeah, I didn't want to have it on the same day as Father's Day for obvious reasons. I don't think anybody would want to even come listen when they're doing stuff with their families. And plus, I'm planning on doing stuff as well. So why would I plan to pretty much not have it at a right time, at a good time for it? But anyway, really, what exactly has been going on with you guys today? How's been everything going on this stream and going on with these videos? I've noticed there's a good amount of consistency with a lot of series lately. I talked about that a couple times. There's been a lot of really good chapters coming out, and it's gonna suck like next week. I think it's the first non-volume break or magazine break for Shonen Jump in general, Weekly Shonen Jump, that Black Clover's going to be on break. The fact that it's going to it's going to feel weird next week with no chapter, because usually that's one of the things Tamada's been really consistent about, is just like meeting up with the chapters from the magazines. But obviously, it's important that he gets some time off. He needs a little bit of a break, and then hopefully he comes back, finishes the arc off, and then if he needs a little bit more time afterwards, to take a rest. What's up, Elric? What's up, Jared Punch, Shaking Network? How's it going? Legend D Vash, Pegasus Seiya, how are you guys today? How's everything going with all of you and what you guys have been up to? I've been having a pretty solid day. Obviously, been loving the chapters. I was very happy that Chainsaw Man actually came out earlier today. Some group decided to start translating it. It looks like. And I had a good time reading it this morning. I was very surprised. I put out my review if you haven't seen it yet, and if you've read the chapter, what I would have to say. But that was unexpected. That whole chapter was pretty wild. I love reading Chainsaw Man. I highly recommend it. Yeah, Tabata, I do want him to take a break. I hope that after this week off, though, he comes back and finishes the arc and then takes another break, just because of, we can't... It'll feel really weird, if he takes a long break, literally like mid-final battle of this huge arc. It'll just be really kind of odd, tone-wise within the series. Obviously, he can do what he wants. His health is more important, but still, it's just what I'm talking about, the weirdness of it. But as I said, his health is more important rather than me just not being patient, because we can wait patiently. If he gets too knackered down, then he's not going to be able to keep going. So, yeah, definitely hope Tabata, recovers, gets ready, and comes back with full force. Maybe he'll probably be like planning stuff out while he's taking a break. He's taking a week off. He's probably still going to be like trying to keep ideas flowing. Yeah. I don't think he's sick. I've read. I read a lot of the author comments, because that's usually something that is in each of the magazines. Well, I guess now it's all digital. But, they put up the comments, and it's just like each of the authors in Shonen Jump, and they'll just say something. Tabata just seems like he's been physically tired. Just a week off, just to rest will hopefully, get him back on track, get him, re-energized and doing good. So that'll be good for him. Came here to say what's up. Been a while. Hope you're doing well. The channel is growing nicely. Yeah, I've been taking peeks ears too. Oh my god, I was trying to think of either call you Legend or D Vash. I think I've just been calling you D Vash. But yeah, thanks. I really appreciate the growth from all the subs. I've actually been taking peeks at your channel too. You guys are doing pretty solid. Been noticing all your guys you guys are getting a lot more widespread. I like to do anime ones like. The problem with doing anime reviews is it's the only time I ever get, like, copyright strikes now. Anytime anyone comes for me, it's usually because of an anime review. I'll just stick to the mangas. Manga's a lot easier, seemingly, to get through versus the anime through YouTube system, It is kind of weird. Yeah, the Black Clover chapter is really hype. It's a shame it was so short, but, as said, Tabata needs a break. I really like the oh my god, my goddamn chair. I really like the layout with Asta, using pretty much, I wouldn't say using his combo with Yuno. And I talked about that in my video where I feel like Spirit of Zephyr isn't a sword. I mean, it can easily be a sword. It can easily just be straight up, a sword. But I just have this feeling it's going to be either a bow or an arrow. I'm just calling it, like, what I believe right now. I could easily be proven wrong, but, fan theory is fan theory. That's just how it is. I know, you see the, like, slit near the, along the blade, near the lower portions of it. I just feel like, could you imagine kind of, like, splitting fully, opening, and it just becoming a bow? And then the weird handle becomes, like, the base of an arrow. I don't know. I look at it and that's what I think about. I think about just the kind of like weird transition it would go from sword to either an arrow or a bow. Just the way that it was described reminds me a lot of Uryu Ishida's Sealy Schneider from Bleach, and it was introduced as a blade, turned out to be an arrow, which again would be consistent with how fights. So happy with these new Black Clover animators. Happy that Justice will come to the anime. Yeah, it's been picked up. I'm glad I'm glad that they're doing it for this arc, because this arc has been super great. It's been really consistent, really well going, and a lot of fun. So it's just a good feeling to know that it's going to be looking nicer. I've still really been appreciative that they've kind of got an idea with how I've always looked at like big weekly shonen animes of like all the stuff that people don't care too much about in terms of animation, where it's more character-wise. It's more like progression of a character spotlight moment. You still want it to be nice. You just add cool music, have good voice acting. But when it comes to, a big battle arc, what are people going to really want, the best animation? They're not going to want, a character like having some really cool speech and just, you're getting a cool character moment to be the really well animated part. When we're talking about the animation, we're going to be talking about the big fights. And that's what they did with, even in the last arc with Yuno and Rill, which was really great. That was just fantastic to look at. Really quick, just because I haven't yet, I'd really appreciate if you'd thumbs up the video, befriend the like button, and if you're new, befriend the subscribe button. I do daily videos, trying to do daily. I'm going to have to do some pre-recordings for the next couple days while I'm away. I do these streams once a week. I'm still trying to figure out a plan for maybe a second stream a week, but, see how things go. Yeah, the devil definitely he's angry. I feel like it's kind of like, it's like when you play a game, and, maybe like a competitive game, and you're beating the hell out of the enemy team, but then, like, they're starting to make a comeback, and you're like, I see this coming. I need to stop myself from screwing around. It's completely messing me up. Like, if he was serious from the start before Lumiere and Patri got fixed, not Lumiere and Patri, Lumiere and Licht, and then probably Patri rather too, and you just would have killed everybody. It seems to be because of the fact that he didn't take them all seriously, and he's just like, screw you guys, I'm not wasting my time, I'm leaving. That's starting to come back and hurt him. Cax. No, Monica Rill's gross. She's super wrinkly and like crusty too. I don't like looking at her anymore. And it makes me sad because she's got one of those anime voices where there's a couple voice actresses where even if their voice is kind of weird, it's just enjoyable to listen to. But her personality, like anytime I see her actual face, I just don't want to listen. It's like it's been soiled. It kind of reminds me of like, if you've seen those jokes, if you've ever watched like, you could pull some probably like, I guess Family Guy would probably be a really good like, kind of reference point. I can't remember the episode, but it's like, you have a phone sex operator, and it's like, man, you sound great over the phone, and then it's like some horribly putrid, like crusty old person. That's pretty much how I kind of been seeing Monica lately. Yeah, she's gross. When are we getting a face reveal, Rex? I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever do a face reveal. I'd have to get big enough for the channel to really, because that's one of those things that's like, it's a weird thing with a face reveal because it's like it's not a big deal thing, but people for some reason really like it. I don't really understand that, but it's just, it's always something that fans always take a lot of like credence in, like getting to finally figure out what this guy looks like, that they've been listening to their voice. It would have to be somewhere like further down the line, so it would be like a big reveal instead of just like, oh cool. I don't know. It's just like, it had to be something strange like that. I don't know. It's kind of weird to think about. What are your opinions on the Mitsuru and Weiss death battle? I mean, Weiss, the thing about it is most of the Ruby team sucks at combat. I mean, like, Ruby's like pretty dumb. I mean, she relies too heavily now. I can already see it. Like, she's gonna rely too heavily on her silver eyes. She's like super kind of stupid and clumsy. Weiss is like brittle as fuck. She's like, I remember somebody like posted a video shortly after that was announced, and it was like Weiss just like hitting walls while jumping, not paying attention to her surroundings, doing stupid shit. I knew she was gonna lose. I already predicted that the other chick was gonna be way stronger. It's like, I don't know, a lot of like the competent people in Ruby are like Crow and stuff. Like a lot of the younger people just kind of seem like idiots. I don't know. Seeing how the Sun Jewel is a mineral planet, I can definitely see Drac and Joe coming to conquer it. And besides, Maria said they needed a new planet anyway. Yeah, it would be that, or maybe he has like some form of business partner already there. Like maybe he already has some form of outpost where he's got a business plan set in motion already, and he's like, all right, time to capitalize this. It's nothing where they're gonna run into each other. Because there'd be no real reason to get Drac and Joe set up like that if there's no plan for him to be in this arc, other than just like, hint, hint, bait for way later. I don't know about that. Very curious about his character. Like I said, I'm very much interested in Drac and Joe. I think his character is very intriguing, and I have a lot of hype for this because he's different than what Hiro Mishima's done a lot of the times before. He's done a lot of like straight up old classic villains like Zero, where Zero was just this extremely powerful, very vicious villain who just wanted to do villain stuff. He just wanted to go around cause chaos. A good classic villain that's just for the fun of it. You had people like Mard Gear, who Mard Gear was really fighting for his own side, doing what his purpose was, and even though he's a villain to humans, he wasn't a villain to the Etherians. The Etherians were just doing what they were made for. And you had people like Zeref, this forsaken kind of like beat up and screwed over character. But oh my god, a hiccup right in the middle of that, sorry. But we haven't had someone like Drac and Joe, who's just like a businessman, which is, again, very interesting. Very interesting to see how his character is going to be laid out. Very intrigued on how exactly his character is going to really go about things and how he's going to play in the bigger picture of the series, because I feel like it's not just going to be straightforward, oh yeah, he's going to show up and he's going to be a bad guy and then it's going to be over. I feel like he's going to be in a much larger thing. Understand what you mean, Rex. It's hard not to think about Monaco when I see. So yeah, it's weird. I believe the idea of Tenka's sword is going to be like, well, good, get it drawn out. Will this be a weekly thing, 2-stream? Again, I'm trying to figure out the 2-stream. I don't know yet. Do you think Licht or Lumiere will mistake Mimosa for Teddy and get emotional reaction? Well, I don't think so, because I mean they have a little bit of a similar face, but I think the fact that their hairs are widely different, because Mimosa's like got like that like orange hair, like already orange. Do you see here Square Enix is taking down manga? Explain. Yeah, Square Enix is doing some dumb shit. I'm wondering how that's gonna go down. I don't understand like YouTube and like who exactly is in charge of the rules. It's kind of silly. Todoroki X Weiss. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna turn all the characters in Ruby gay. I feel like the shippers are having weird influence on the series. If it goes the way that I'm predicting, which is starting to make me like turn away from the series, because vibrant shippers are the worst. Vic was confessed today. Wait, what did Vic do? Vic has confessed today. What did Vic do? I don't remember. Tell me, Anime Storm, what did he do? I got the feels that Secker in the last page she didn't believe in him, but now she does. Yeah, because she wanted to use him at first. She's just going to use him as a weapon. Do you think that we'll get a Fairy Tail and Eden Zero crossover? How would you write it? Well, if we get another crossover, it's got to involve Rave Master 2. And it'll probably be like Shiki and Haru getting another fight, or Shiki and Haru, Natsu and Haru getting another fight, and then Shiki's trying to like break it up. And that's probably how that battle's going to be. Just like, ew. And then they're going to just, remember the last time they clash. And then Shiki's just going to be confused, trying to like figure out what to do with his new friends. I think it'll be funny. Legitimately, oh my god, this chapter was hype as hell. Just because, like, I have that at the start of the name of the stream. I have the picture up, and I haven't talked about it yet. Aldoron is a goddamn fucking beast. This dragon is gigantic. He's huge as hell. I talked about in the review video that when the translations for the chapters were starting to come out back when, what was it, chapter 24, I believe, 23, 24, when Mercephobia was describing the other dragon gods, some of the rough translation was mentioning because, wood dragon, and the statement that he's the largest dragon, and you see the picture of him, he's got a tree on his back, it's like, oh, he has the largest tree in the world on his back. That's what the translation came out at the time. And at the time, obviously, that would be bigger than Sirius Island, And, this is an island's tree who's, again, the size of an island. And I was like, holy shit, this guy's going to carry an island-sized tree on his back? That's freaking ridiculous. And then, the translation came out, and it was like, oh, no, he's just the largest dragon. He's a wood dragon guy. It's like, okay, understandable. And then we got the actual one, and this dude is way bigger than I expected. He's literally got cities on his hands, and he still also has the giant tree on his back, which is absurdly huge in itself. And we got a city on each hand, and I'm wondering, because you can kind of see a little bit of a shape right above his shoulder right there, that maybe that's a city, like maybe he's got a right, left, and center city. I don't know, we know at least two. Very curious to know about how this is going to go, because this character he's absurdly huge. He's not like, Ikusatsu Nagi is literally the size of of this dude's fingernail. One of his claws is bigger than Ikusatsu Nagi. A dude who was tall enough to reach the clouds. That dude was like, he was like a mile and some change tall. Like, I think it was like 2 miles. I think it was like 1.5 miles to 2 miles tall. And here comes Aldoron being like, move the fuck over, dude. I'm gonna be like 100+ meters tall. He's legitimately probably like 70 miles or something. I think, 100 meters is like 66 miles or something like that. Ridiculous. This dude is so freaking... Seeing him do anything is gonna be ridiculous. It was a little bit rough, because like with Mercephobia, we had like a lot of crazy feats. A lot of his was like widespread water, but like when it came to attacking, he like concentrated it into like condensed beams, because like one of the things about water, you condense it with enough pressure and it's gonna, it can cut through steel. So a lot of his were like pressurized attacks, whereas this dude is just humongous. An attack just the size of his body, which probably is not that hard for him, like given like dragons and dragon slayers, and him doing an attack is probably going to be like 50 times bigger than he is when he gets like a roar or something. And just that alone is going to be fucking ridiculous. This dude is so freaking massive. I can only imagine like how it's going to be. And especially like when people fight him, could you imagine just Natsu punching him and just like even lifting him off the ground a foot is going to be so much freaking weight that he'd be moving. I'm so curious to know how this is going to go. Because with Mercephobia, you were able to get a little bit of a guess. With probably all of them, you're going to be able to get an idea a little bit of how things are going to go. This dude is so big that, like, a fight with him, it's just appalling at how it's going to go down. This is some, like, I was going to say Shadow of the Colossus, but this is bigger. This is absurd. This is, like, literally, what's that, Chrono Trigger? Oh my god, I'm trying to remember. Like, I remember there's, like, some crazy giant stuff in Chrono Trigger. I don't know. I've never played Chrono Trigger. Actually, I think I own one of them, and I've never played it. I'll have to look. Anyway, you just... Oh my god, it's so crazy. Like, when I was reading this chapter, I was like, okay, cool, they're talking to Juvia stuff. Oh, they're talking about the White Witch. Oh, cool. Stuff with Toka's going down. I wonder what Juvia is talking about in, like, full translation. And then, like, the place started shaking, and I'm like, oh, shit, what's going on? Maybe, maybe Aldoron is walking around or something. Nope, this is his hand. The city takes place on his goddamn hand. He's absurdly gigantic. And then it just got to the reveal for him, and he's just like... Yeah, I'm this goddamn big. It's gonna be so crazy to see this guy just move around. I'm so stoked, because it's just so ridiculous. It's like ridiculous in a fun way. Because it's not like, oh, some giant colossal creature is gonna just be, walking around in the world. It's different from something like Toriko. If you ever read Toriko, you know that there's tons of creatures in Toriko this big. There are ones way bigger. They're literally a race of mammoths the size of stars. Toriko does crazy stuff like this. But with Fairy Tail, really, we got Giant Makarov, who was a humongous dude, and then we got Ikusatsu Nagi, who was bigger than Titan Makarov, but I wouldn't say by like a whole lot. I'd have to look back. I think Makarov was like 1 mile tall, and then Ikusatsu Nagi is like 1.5 miles or so tall, to maybe 2 miles. Aldoron is like 70+ miles, and that's tall. We don't know what he is from tail to head. It's gonna be so crazy. Again, just seeing a full body shot of this dude is gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be such a crazy like flip on this series to see again like this guy do anything. Like, what is he doing right now? Because they're like, oh yeah, is he just like leaning up? He's gonna probably do something. He's not just gonna be like lean up. Okay, end chapter, next chapter, he's asleep. He's probably gonna do something like, oh, breathe out, create a giant like wave of forestry, maybe like Maybe, I don't know. I can't really think of it right now. I'm so curious to just how this character is gonna play out. It's so interesting. Yeah, I guess Square Enix is messing with videos, Elric. I don't know. Oh, Vic confessed to being handsome. Vic's a likable dude. He's very nice. I've met him. He's friendly as hell. How many pages do you see being in the next Black Clover chapter? I'm hoping just a normal, like, 15. I'm hoping just a normal around. Just as long as Tabata is it's just ready to keep going, not rush the arc. I mean, it's kind of hard to rush it when it's literally at the last, like, I predict, like, I think the devil will be beaten within 2 or 3 more chapters, because he's serious now. Austin, only have a little bit time left with their powered up versions of their weapons. Like, I think he'll get set up for the defeat next chapter, and then he'll lose the chapter after. That's where I'm gonna go. I feel like 3 chapters, though, will be the max, just because of the fact that he's, he's gotten serious now, and then, Austin, like, we can only hold this for so long, and there's clearly a very short time limit, so that's gonna be, set up for that. And then, Yami's coming into play, Fuego Leona's coming into play, Leona's probably going to come into play. There's a lot going on setting up for this final moment of this arc. And I think it's going to take, like, pretty much everyone's going to use their last attack to create an opening for Asta to get that last thing in. Like, could you imagine, like, all these characters pop up, they're all throwing attacks at him, each one whittles them down a little bit more, and then finally just that, like, after all their attacks, Asta comes in, very final attack, and then he ends up striking the heart down and either killing him or making it so he's pretty much done fighting. Whether they, pretty much take him into custody, maybe they capture him somehow, or he has to retreat and go recover, and maybe that's when we'll get more demons. I think it'd be really cool if they didn't kill him, but they captured him. And then, kind of like what I talked about, how there's, there being possibly more demons. I use something like an Akatsuki as an example. Because imagine, like, because the thing about, like, going over to Naruto, imagine the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki were, like, a group made up of like, different super high-level criminal ninjas from all over the, the ninja world. And they formed a team. And imagine, like, these demons, they all have their own schemes going on in different kingdoms and different areas in the world. But now they're all coming together, and they're just like, one of our guys was captured. And then, there'll be a process of them trying to figure out, when are we going to go get him? When are we going to let him out? Maybe they're like, yeah, let's just leave him there for a while so he can, lament on his failures or something. We'll get him out eventually. And then way later along the line, they'll end up, invading and trying to take him out. Maybe after some time where the characters have powered up. Very, very curious there. We'll see. He might just get straight up killed. I don't know. I would love to see how this arc's going to go. I'm super stoked to know what exactly they're going to pull to finish this guy off. And I still really want to see demon interaction between Asta's Grimoire Demon and this dude so bad. You still reading Samurai 8? Yeah, I like Samurai 8. I think it's cool so far. I thought about keep doing reviews. I'm going to wait a little bit because I'm going to wait until after the early transition period. Because a lot of the series, especially in Shonen Jump, the first couple, like, chunk of chapters, usually around 15 to 16, are just kind of like getting things established and getting things kind of like set up. And I'm doing it with some other series as well. And the other ones, though, also because I worry about them getting canceled. For a lot of series, I'm gonna start reviewing them and then, like, review them at the beginning for newer series. And then, like, if I know they're not getting canceled, then I'm gonna keep following them. Unless it's something like in, like, Chainsaw Man, where I just have a blast reading it. Just because of that, I get really annoyed if I review something, get really into it, and then it gets canceled, then I get sad. But yeah, I've liked it. I like the introduction of this, what I'm assuming is going to be the lead female, Anne, however her name's pronounced. And, Hachimaru is learning how to use the sword. I really want to see what his sword looks like, his soul sword, because we haven't gotten that yet. We haven't gotten what his blade will look like, because that's going to be, again, his weapon for the series. And it's not just like, oh yeah, it's a weapon. It's literally a blade made out of his soul. So this is going to be a good representation of him. And all the blades are slightly different looking, as we've seen so far in this series. So it's going to be really cool to see that laid out just as a character thing. It's just kind of weird that, where this chapter, was it 5 or 6? I think chapter 6. And we still haven't gotten the main character's, like, weapon and, like, power. I guess it'd be like if, I guess another example would be like, yeah, chapter 6. It'd be like if Asta didn't get his anti-magic swords until chapter 6 again. And it's not even that, because he's got it, but he can't use it. I don't know. It's obviously different because he can still use a sword. It's just he doesn't have this super cool soul sword yet. Natsu is not weak as fuck. Jared, incorrect. Oh, hang on. I don't want to miss over comments. Let me scroll back up. Let me scroll back up. We already had this discussion, Anime Storm. There is no way Natsu can injure a dragon the size of an island. He's bigger than an island. He's huge. But he probably can. Probably not yet. I'm very curious to know how it's going to lay out, because if Natsu had the same boost that he had when he fought Mercephobia, I feel like he could still fight him. But I don't think he's going to get that same power up, at least directly in the same way. Because I don't think that Ignia could... I don't think Ignia is going to show up and boost him again. I think that'd be kind of lame. But maybe Natsu's like, maybe from that form, he reawakens some power in him, or it pretty much jumpstart him. He's going to get way stronger. Maybe they'll have a short training arc. I don't know. There's some questions in there that I'm very curious about, know how these characters are going to progress. And really kind of move forward. Maybe it'll have to do with the Dragon Eaters. I still have my theory that the Dragon Eaters might not be evil, and they might just be kind of like independent, and LF Saria is actually evil. Again, that's just some theories in there. We'll see how that goes. It's obviously going to be a while with these bi-weeklies, and assuming each arc is going to be around the same length, we're going to have, what is it? Each one is going to take about a year almost, because we're now in chapter 27, and it came out. So, yeah, and then obviously 26 chapters is a year. So, it's just how I see it kind of like getting laid out. Or at least some more time, maybe some longer. And obviously Toka is going to have some time. The Dragon Eaters are going to have some time. So, when we get to it, we're going to have some big fun. And Natsu and the crew are going to have to get stronger along the way. How that is at the moment, we don't know, and it's going to be a little bit weird to see a training arc while in a bi-weekly. Yeah, bi-weekly? I almost said bi-monthly. Bi-monthly is every 2 months. Yeah, bi-weekly every 2 weeks. Kind of status as it is. Again, we'll see how it is. Natsu, if he can harness that power he did when he fought Mercephobia, then he could definitely fight this dude. And again, can you just imagine him like manhandling him as well? Like, probably not the same. I feel like one of the reasons he was able to beat up Mercephobia so bad is he was pretty much just a mindless rampaging dude at the time. Whereas I don't see that right now with Aldoron. He seems like he's going to be at least more intelligent. Like the fact he can apparently read people's hearts and mind, he's probably going to be a lot more wise and not have somebody get messed with by Toka. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Very impressive. You think he might be bigger than Godzilla Earth? He's way bigger than Godzilla Earth is 300 meters tall. Aldoron is like 100 kilometers tall. He's much bigger. He's vastly bigger. He's absurdly bigger. This dude is way bigger than Godzilla Earth. Are you kidding me? He's freaking huge. Between Arya, Cersei, and the Hound and Daenerys, who would you not want as your enemy the most? Well, probably Arya, since she can literally face steal and then, sneak on you. Whereas everybody else, they're just kind of like, they got power behind them. Whereas, the uneasiness of, anybody could be Arya would be spooky. Who's my favorite Japanese voice actor? Well, I only really recognize a few of them because I don't look into a lot of the Japanese voice actors. I really like Natsu's voice actor, and I really like Kaiba's voice actor. Asa's I like too. I don't know. I really like his voice. I've just gotten really used to it. Again, I don't know a lot of Japanese voice actors by name. Usually, I only know a handful of dub voice actors by name too. Let's see. Aldoron probably has a weak spot somewhere in him. I mean, maybe. I just feel like he's just going to be huge. I mean, he's big, but I mean, obviously he's a big target, so that's probably, going to be the trade-off. And I'm wondering what his whole ability is going to be, because dragons and dragon slayers, they all have their own kind of, special perk to them. Obviously, looking at something like fire dragons can burn magic. Lightning dragons have, a natural speed, as well as paralysis, you got, sky dragons, they got, buffs and dispels, a greater level of enchants. It looked like water dragons had, a level of intangibility to a degree, because we saw, Mercephobia when Natsu, went and attacked him. It looked like he was made of water, or maybe, because it didn't look like he had, a water layer on him. It looked like he was just straight up made of water. But also, you just like mass manipulation, beam condensing and stuff. Probably just raw moisture manipulation. You know, he's got that added to his base. So I'm wondering what Aldoron's was gonna be like with wood. So maybe like he's gonna have like different kinds of trees, or maybe he can heal himself. Like that'll be really cool to see. Like, I'm very curious about how that's gonna be. Just whatever the wood dragon perk is gonna be, whatever their elemental buff. It's going to be crazy when Aldoron takes flight. He doesn't have wings. Maybe that's going to be his trade-off. And he's not going to need it, obviously. He doesn't need to fly. He's too big. But I'm curious to how he's going to operate. Again, like, it's going to be so cool to see him move. And you got to keep in mind, like, the dragon gods at least should all... Like, there's probably going to be one that's going to be stronger than all the others. You know, it wouldn't surprise me. But as of right now, like, even if you assume that maybe some of them are stronger than the others, they're still going to be relatively around each other. And this means that they should be able to stop and, like, counter attacks from this dude. So this means that they're going to be... Like, could you imagine, like, Ignia? This means Ignia should be able to, like, stop a claw swipe from this dude. It's going to be so cool to see them just go down. I can't wait to see them just fight. Not even fight. I just want to see, like... Aldoron doing something, like anything. Like next chapter, he could literally lay down and cause like a massive crater like multiple times, like as big as he is, and just like imagine that raw destructive force. And like how thick he is too. Like not only are his hands huge, but just like his whole body is just like thick as all hell. He's a big boy, big boy. Oh my god, it's gonna be so fun to see him go. The Behemoth Dragon will probably be CGI if it gets animated. Yeah, probably. He's freaking huge. I know it sounds weird, but would you feel if you were dating your shadow alter ego as a girl? What? What? What does that even mean? Shadow alter ego? Is that from Persona? I have no idea. I don't play Persona. How tall are the Albions in Natsuno Taizai? I think they were a couple 100 meters. Because, like, I remember seeing the fat ones. I think the tall ones are, like, it's either, like, 50% as tall. Because you see, like, them staying next to each other. And the fat ones are, like, a couple... I think they're, like, 200 or 300 meters. Because I remember them... I remember, like, the first one we saw standing next to the walls of Camelot. And it wasn't, like, Ikusatsu Nagi. The Albions were still big. They were still really big. But they weren't that huge. They're still obviously of size. Not this size. There's nothing in this... There's absolutely nothing inside of Seven Deadly Sins that could compare to this big fucker. What's up, Jordan Chandler? How's it going, dude? Like Chandler, not Chandler. Chandler. Power of Friendship from Black Clover. Yeah, it's been done well. That tree on his back, maybe. I mean, if he has two weird trees that look like wings, I don't think he's gonna have wings. I don't think he's gonna have wings. I don't know why he would need them. Why would he need wings? He's so freaking huge. We'll see. I'm very curious about that. How would you compare the size of the chronophage to the big monsters in Toriko? Well, Toriko had confirmed the star mammoths, which were the size of stars, and then like there were some talks about like the gourmet gods that literally like used galaxies as tables, but I don't think those were confirmed. I think those were kind of set up as like premonitions. I think it was stuff that Shima Bakuro planned, because he clearly had some crazy ideas set up for the future, but Toriko got kind of like rush-ended. But for sure, they got the mammoths the size of goddamn stars. They're definitely bigger than the chronophage. Definitely huge, just all around. Toriko, though, it was normal, so, you know. Let me... Oh, God, I don't want to miss stuff. Where was I? I think the word devil is going to push back and almost kill Asta, which forces Asta's devil to take control to protect his vessel. Yeah, so I'm curious to know how that's going to go, because I still believe that the devil and the grimoire... I think the reason that Asta got the grimoire is because that the devil within the five-leaf anti-magic grimoire chose him. And it would make sense of why he chose him, and then given the interaction they had, why he was like kind of friendly towards him, that maybe he likes Asta. And like in a situation where the devil, you know, is like, this word devil is like getting ready to, you know, get in a spot to kill Asta, and then the anti-magic devil, especially like the word, you gotta keep this in mind, the word devil literally just like told the anti-magic devil to know his place. he just insulted him versus just fighting him. I think that'll be really interesting to see. Could you imagine just like when it happens and it takes over and he just makes a comment of like, oh, what pecking order are you talking about? Who's superior to who? And then he just kind of takes over. And then like he does that. He's either going to have no idea who this guy is or he's going to be like, oh shit. Well, no, because he shouldn't know who he is, because otherwise you'd think that, like, oh, anti-magic, I know who that is, out of, like, the other devils, because I feel like that'd be a really unique one to mention if you had just, like, if one was a big deal who had anti-magic. I still think that he was born inside that grimoire, which is maybe why he's different from other demons. Maybe it kind of like how I believe is just the elf child of Licht and Tetia, but he never kind of lost control. He was always in control, which would make sense of why he wasn't kind of messed up from the resurrection, but also from the fact that, why he would kind of like have this presence in the series. Could be the still the heir of the throne. He could be kind of the bridge. Him and Austin could be the bridge between the two races, which would be really cool. And there's a lot going on for that theory wise. We'll see how it is. I can't believe that only one devil to see similarities with Devil and Orkiora. I miss Orkiora. I miss the guy. He's awesome. Tokyo Shinobi Squad is awesome. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. I do like Tokyo Shinobi Squad. Oh my god, I'm trying to remember. See how to pronounce your name. Nija Hurst. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I like it so far. I like the first chapter, and the second chapter was kind of like plain, just because it felt like an extension of the first chapter. It was much more of like a layout of the main character itself, but that's expected, so it's fun so far. I like the main character. I like the layout of the story. I think the setting is interesting. We'll see how it goes. I think it's getting some pretty good feedback. People seem to like it. It seems pretty fun. So, I'm glad it's doing well. I like it. Yang is literally the only competent fighter team. Ruby, the team, is going to need a major power-up. I mean, we'll see. The writing has kind of gone downhill a lot since like Season 3. What do you think of Aldoron's personality will be like? I see him being kind of like a tranquil, kind of like all-knowing. Not like all-knowing, but very wise kind of guy. Like when you see like a really old man and they just have like, they don't speak directly and like giving you info. They're more kind of like, they're more like riddle based, and they're trying to just like give you words of wisdom that you have to figure out yourself. I don't know, because otherwise why would he be so polite to these people living on his hands? He's probably very kind, very like understanding. I'm extremely curious how he's gonna be handled, because like Mercephobia was like this kind of redeemed bad guy. Igneous like I do whatever the hell I want, and this guy he definitely seems somewhat compassionate about his people. He's literally letting them live on his body. They're literally living on his body, which is going to be weird once he fights, because he literally got these guys on him. I guess he could probably make his body like maybe like grow a portion off, like maybe like grow a piece of the wood on his arm and then like separate it and then set the cities down. I don't know. That's going to be really kind of curious to see, because obviously he's going to have to fight with them, or he's going to have to get all the people evacuated, and he's going to fight like and just destroy the cities, and they're going to have to rebuild. Which I guess like in the idea of it, with this guy literally like being on it, like where the cities are, like the idea of you ever fighting, like it probably wouldn't ever come, especially when you're a dragon. Like you could just breathe attack, like you do a roar, a breath attack, and take out an enemy from range. But also when you're this big, probably people aren't messing with you. Like the only people you can see potentially messing with this dude would be Acnologia, the Dragon Eaters, and maybe Toka now. But the Dragon Eaters and Toka would be a mystery. It would just be Acnologia, who is seemingly now dead. So, well, to him seemingly dead, he can't confirm. Obviously, we know that he's gone from, reading the story. Yeah, anyway, where was I? I don't want to... which reminds me, if Lucy's afraid of Natsu after eating Ink's frames, how do you think she will react to... how do you think she would have reacted to E&D? I mean, she'd probably been real shaken up by it, probably of a similar nature. Again, I still think they're linked. You can go check out my videos I did before if you haven't yet. I talked about the theory of Natsu still having E&D aspects to him, the Zetherius powers, but instead of it linked to Zeref, because of Lucy messing with the book, that she's linked through living magic to Natsu and no longer Zeref, which would explain why Natsu didn't die at the end of the series when Zeref died. Are we able to figure out what Redesso's quirk is? It just seems to be kind of getting bigger. I'm wondering if it's maybe like mass manipulation, or like maybe like because his thing is, I was gonna say like straight up like mutation, but then like I feel like that'd be kind of too close to overhaul. Maybe it's just growing big. I don't know. I'm curious. Like, obviously, we saw in this chapter, he just made his arm really huge. Maybe it's going to be something more complicated to that, or it's going to be one of those characters who's got a very straightforward quirk, but he's going to, fight with it in a very cool way. I don't know. Maybe he's going to have, like, Gear 3rd Luffy powers or some shit. Or, like, I guess Makarov would make more sense. Like, early Makarov when he just made limbs bigger, but nothing else. Natsu or Shiki, which you like the most? Oh, Natsu's my boy. Natsu's my favorite main character. My favorite main characters are Natsu, Yugi slash Atem. I always put them as like a conjoined spot because really they were the conjoined main character of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Jaden, Guts, Asta. Yeah, that's pretty much probably my top 5. Those are my favorites. I always really like those fellas. Those are my boys. Yuji Kaji is great. Yuki Kaji. I don't know if I've read that. Yuki Kaji. Let me scroll down, make sure I don't, oh my god. Hero said, 2 males will join the Eden Zero crew soon. Who do you think will be the Captor Connor who's coming to the next crew? I don't think so. I think he's going to be set up to maybe like a comedic character. I still think Jin's going to join at some point. I feel like Jin will join. I think he's like a good rival to Shiki that will be cool to see them fight. It just feels like it'd be too much of a waste for his character, especially that someone's set up early on. How come you don't like, how come you don't like Rebecca or Hermit? I like Rebecca and Hermit. I just like Hamura more. I like Rebecca and Hermit. They're both pretty cool. Hamura is just definitely my favorite chick so far in Eden Zero. I haven't played Persona. I hear a lot of good things about it. Do you think that Aldoron can pull off a one-shot on main characters? Yeah, I mean, he's definitely more powerful than them by themselves. We know that Natsu in the Ko wasn't stronger than 50% Merphobia, like, as a team. So I don't see why Aldoron would be, like, threatened by them. It's going to be a big mystery of what happens that maybe makes this guy an enemy, how, fighting him is going to go down, what exactly his role going to be in this. Because even if they don't fight him, and maybe, like, he's for later, or, something weird set up where they don't combat him right away, he's going to fight at some point. It doesn't matter who it's going to be. He's going to fight somebody at some point, and he's a big fella. So that's still going to be pretty crazy to see them just, again, like, do anything. Which part past the war was worse and more devastating? The Dragon War from 400 years ago and Fairy Tale War, Symphony and Rave Master. Wait, which war do you think was worse and devastating? Oh, probably, I would say probably the Dragon War because of the fact that it literally affected the whole world. Because dragons were the dominant species of their planet, and Acnologia pretty much one man handled, like, drove them to near extinction. Were the only handful of dragons left of unknown number were in hiding. They had to hide for the rest of their lives. With Symphonia, it was really just Symphonia and the Rare Groove Kingdom that were destroyed. So it was definitely, obviously, a much more widespread devastation. He doesn't need wings. He just needs to take one step, and he's there. Pretty much, dude's freaking huge. I can't wait to see him just operate at any point in time ever. It's gonna be crazy. My 7 demon dragons are all certain interpretations of satanic archetype. What's good? Do you think Natsu can burn through Asta's anti-magic? I've thought about that because I don't think so, but depending on how Natsu's current, like, because of the I'm just calling it the Aetherius Dragon Force right now. That's what I'm going with. I'm going with the fact that it's Aetherius. It wouldn't make it's way too set up similar to be like close to his Aetherius layout back, in the Alvarez arc than to not involve his Aetherius powers at all. I feel like at that point, like Asta's anti-magic weapons wouldn't be effective. Like in general, like as he is right now, obviously it would affect magic. But I think Natsu's just too powerful for Asta's. Because you got to keep in mind a level of if you've ever heard of the term again, like a no limits fallacy. It'd be like if Asta's swords, like you try to argue it worked on like some cosmic being because they used magic. It's obviously like, oh, it affects magic, but it's not like unlimited to any degree. It's as far as we know, and as far as we know, it is that way in Black Clover. So we got to use it to the furthest Black Clover is capable of versus like oh, yeah, Doctor Fate and Doctor Strange could merge, and then here comes in Doctor, I don't know, Manhattan. Actually, Doctor Manhattan's not magic. Scratch that last one, and then Asta cuts their universal recreating, energy magic bomb in half. It wouldn't happen. Obviously, that's too much for him. Tenka pecking, where the fuck is that? Yeah, maybe. What's up, Sheridan Kane? How's it going, man? So here's a big fan of Game of Thrones. Do you think he got an idea for the title, Queen of Dragons from Daenerys and the Mother Dragons? Yeah, probably. I remember he said before he had an idea for exactly Irene was always going to be like the Mother of Dragons and Dragon Slayers and Queen of Dragons before she got officially set in. The fact she became Urza's mother was decided later, which I think was pretty cool. Miss Irene. Ulki or Grimjow, who's your favorite and who would win? Grimjow I like more, and he's definitely stronger. Grimjow is actually the current strongest character to ever hold a title of Espada because he's still alive and he's still getting stronger. And he's actually achieved the second form, Resurrection, the Segunda Etapa, that Ulquiorra had in the Bleach novels, and the current ones are canon. So, that's just a continuation of the story. He's obviously superior as he is now. Then prior was obvious that it was, prior was obviously Ulquiorra, but not the same anymore. Who do you think would win between Ghidorah and the match the character? Wait, how do you think King Ghidorah would match the characters of Fairy Tail of the Dragons? Depends on the Ghidorah. I think that there's a couple of characters that can definitely beat the normal ones. I'd have to look. I think isn't he a planet destroyer though? I know for a fact they couldn't take the one from. I don't think they could take the one from the animated series, because that one destroyed what was it, thousands of planets, and he literally came out of black holes. That one's definitely too much, and he's a weird trans-dimensional being, some crazy thing. Dark Phoenix or The Last Stand, which is a better movie. I haven't watched Dark Phoenix, but I've heard a lot of bad things. I would rather watch Last Stand. I can watch Last Stand. I don't think there were any cringy moments in it. I've seen a little bit of Dark Phoenix, and there's that moment where they're like, oh, maybe you should call it X-Women. And it's like, no, that's super cringy. I doubt they fucking care. Get the hell out of here with your annoying throat-shoved feminist agenda. It's not going to go well for you. Annoying. A good wise power-up is maybe merging with Armagigas. I mean, maybe. I don't think that they've got a whole idea of what they're doing at this point in time. You think we'll get a translation of the demon's language? Yeah, maybe at some point. Maybe Asta could. That could be a thing where Asta could do, because he definitely knows. He should be able to read it. You should be able to read it to a degree, because his grimoire is written in demonic text. That's confirmed by Tabata himself. When Tenka's strongest attack is 10 Hatsu Ryu. I don't know what that means. Oh, enhanced Dragon Blazing Cannon. Okay. Tenka would want Akuma to get dead, even though he already is. You gotta disrespect the dead guy. His mirror does Aldoron look like Paladramon from Digimon Frontier? Oh my god. Let me look that up real quick. There's so many Digimon. I always run into ones that I have no idea. I haven't watched Digimon. Are there actually any, are there any Digimon series, still going? I'd have to look up. I'd have to go back and look. Pedaldramon. Does anyone else? Oh, a little bit. I mean, not the exact same. Actually, I don't see it, actually, now that I look closer at him. No, I don't see it. I do remember that guy. That was from, I remember him specifically in Frontier. That was when, I think that's when the one dude got Metal Kabuterimon, from what I recall. I'd have to go back and look. Aldoron is some Toriko type beast. Yeah, he's freaking huge. The dude's so goddamn big. Mishima wanted Rufus' magic. That memory magic was OP, but shit, he never used it. Major League Ken. Yeah, memory make. So he had it set up and it got stronger because he said he can also affect people's memories, and then he never really did anything again, which is a shame because his magic was really cool. Aldoron vs. Priest skip Toriko. I'm gonna hold off on that until we see Aldoron do some stuff. Avengers Endgame or Game of Thrones Season 8. I didn't watch Avengers Endgame. I don't really care for the MCU. The MCU is not for me. I don't really like it that much. It just kind of got the same thing, and then I found it really annoying that they just kind of brought in Captain Marvel in between the two for no reason, just to be like, hey, look, she exists and she's OP and she's been here the whole time, but she's never done anything. We've never mentioned her up till now after 15 movies. No thanks. Absolutely no thank you. Who do you think is a bigger bitch from mine, from Shieldher or Cersei? Cersei, she's way worse. Petal is one of the top 10 legendary warriors. Yeah, I remember. Petal was his that was his beast form, I believe. I don't remember the other guys, but he was the wood spirit. Remember Digimon Monsters still ongoing. Is there a Digimon series going? I'll have to look that up. I haven't watched it in a long time. I remember the Digimon Cross was, I think, the last one I watched. And that one, I didn't really like that one because it was much more like, it wasn't as, it was much more like Voltron. Like, they just kind of like merged on top of each other. And instead of like merged, like, okay, we fused, it was like, oh, this guy, I'm literally holding this dude as a sword. That's my Digimon upgrade. I'm evolved. And it's like, no. And it's like Shoutmon and Shoutmon EX, and it's like I miss it. That was one of the cool things of Digimon is they'd evolve and they'd become like way different, and then it'd be like look at like fucking Agumon and then Greymon. It's like he went from a little guy to a big ass dinosaur, and then he was a freaking metallic dinosaur that shot like chest cannons, and then he was War Greymon, and then it was like Shoutmon, and then he just kind of got bigger and had a sword, and it was Shoutmon EX. I didn't like that. I didn't like that about Digimon Cross. I did like seeing all the main characters team up. That was cool as hell. Saw my boy Takato in there. Miss Tamers was definitely my favorite. Dragon King's giving me a legendary vibe. The Dragon Gods are freaking awesome. Loving them. They're super cool right now. I'm really enjoying their addition to the series. Who do you think would win? Spriggan 12 or the Royal Knights from Digimon, if you want to know they're from the Zero Decks. I think the Royal Knights would win, aren't they? If I remember them correctly, they're like all the universal beings. I've looked that up before. It's got like Gallantmon and shit. I remember specifically, I've looked it up because it has Gallantmon, and Gallantmon's my favorite Digimon. Oh my god. Yeah, they're all, I've looked at like how strong they are before. They're all like, because like Digimon has a lot of like crazy power level stuff too. He's like a universal being. Pretty ridiculous stuff. But anyway, let me look. See, Tengus Instincts can break through illusions of full power. Yes, he can break through Kyokusoi. Well, Kyokusoi Soigetsu isn't like an illusion. It's like a control of all five senses after it gets inside your brain. It's not the same thing as like straight illusions. Who do you think would annoy you more if you were stuck, Joffrey or Monica? Well, probably Joffrey. Joffrey's like legit crazy. Monica's just a cunt. Arbormon. Yeah, Arbormon. There you go. Who do you think Old Wise is strong as hell? Yeah. He's probably got a bunch of crazy like inventions and setups. The Royal Knights are Dragon Ball level. They're way beyond Dragon Ball level. I looked them up before. Aldoron reminded me of the giant deer king in Toriko, the same presence, and they had people living on them. Oh no, the sky deer, he didn't have people living on him. He had goddamn other super monsters living on him. I remember that dude. He had a bunch of crazy stuff. I remember him. Like, he had like all these other horrific monsters that lived on top of him to fight in the case of there was ever anything like threatening him, just to keep him from fighting because of how like dangerous he is. And what was his? He made like zones where like time moved way faster, and like a couple seconds, millions of years would pass or something crazy. I'm gonna do a video. I'm gonna do a video on Aldoron soon. I'm gonna put it out probably this weekend because again, I talked about how I'm gonna be away, so I'm gonna make a couple pre-recorded videos. I'm gonna go over his size and show you like how big he is just from this so far, and we're just gonna look at how massive this guy is, and only from what we've seen. Because we've only seen really his arms and his head and torso. He's obviously got back legs. We don't know if he's got maybe more than 4 legs. And then, tail. And see how big his body is in total. Skydeer had his own atmosphere. Yeah, Skydeer was pretty crazy. Wise can potentially be Iron Man somewhat. Yeah, I'm expecting him to be something like that. Especially watch the Dark Phoenix. I'm going to watch the storyline from the old cartoon. If you watch the old cartoon and then go watch the movie, you're probably going to be disappointed in the movie, because the old cartoon is super good. I would suggest watch the movie and then watch the cartoon to probably wash it out, because I've heard some bad things about the movie. I've heard it wasn't good. But obviously, decide for yourself what you want to do. How long do you think that we'll have to wait before we see Older Wise? I don't know. It'll definitely be a little bit of a time period, because they're going to have to get to... They're going to have to get to a point where he's going to be relevant, because he's not relevant right now. They don't need a ship from him. They don't really need anything from him right now. It has to be a way that he has to be pulled into the story, because they can't just have him show up and be like, hey, I'm doing stuff now, because otherwise it'd be like, well, what's his crew? What reason does he have just decide that he's now gonna, come hang out and do stuff? Oh, Bakugo to get an Iron Man like power up? What? Why would Bakugo get an Iron Man power up? I doubt he would. He's probably gonna get more like stun grenades and shit. The part where Tyrion threw his hand off the king pin in front of Daenerys was one of those few good things about season 8. Yeah, season 8 had a couple parts. I can't forgive them just from the fact they ruined Jaime's character. I completely destroyed everything they built over him. Like, if they didn't do that, if they didn't break Jaime like that, then I would have been perfectly fine with season 8. Like, everything else I would have been able to forgive. I would have been perfectly fine with it. But they ruined Jaime's relationship in general with Brienne, and they left Brienne like sad and alone. So that as it was made me salty as hell with the entire series. If they just literally didn't leave and just stayed there, and that was the end of the series for them. He never saw him again after that episode after he banged out Brienne. I would have been perfectly okay with it. I would have been perfectly okay with the series. But instead, they're like, yeah, let's just end it here. Let's just have him decide to go and die with Cersei. I know she had tried to have him killed, like literally the day prior. Stupid. Really stupid. I don't like that. Through the theories of Bran being evil in season 8. Well, it doesn't matter now. There were some theories. I saw some theories, but it doesn't matter now. It's over. You should read Digimon Cross Wars manga. The first few episodes are the same, but it's different and insane in a good way. I'll check it out probably. Deku 100%. Full Cal versus Black Asta. Asta would destroy him. He's way more powerful. He's got way more going on for him. He's way more durable. He's fought way crazier opponents. The gaps between like power levels for Black Clover and My Hero Academia is too huge. It's funny because like a lot of big shonens, they were relatively close to each other for so long, and because like there was like a period where it was like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece were all really close, and then Fairy Tail came along. Fairy Tail was pretty close in there, and then Naruto got in crazy with Pain, and then Bleach started to do some crazy stuff, with the trend, the Ascended State, and the final get to Tensho and all everything, and then Fairy Tail had Acnologia, One Piece had Whitebeard, and then they're all keeping relatively around each other with their like power levels, which was really interesting, and then Naruto got really crazy, and then like Bleach kind of brought in did some upgrades, but then like had a lot more like hacks powers, and then Fairy Tail had some of both, and now is doing just some like crazy upgrades. One Piece is kind of like sitting stale where it's been for a long time, whereas like My Hero Academia and Black Clover were close to each other for a while, and then Black Clover just took huge jumps because they decided, okay, let's start showing off the big characters, and the big characters were like, hey, my name's Julius Nova Chrono, and I can manipulate time. And you had like he's like, yeah, I can move faster than light, and I can full heal people, and I can throw light swords at you, and I have this dude with me that makes portals, so I can check light swords at you from all different sides. Crazy stuff like that, and then just keep going with like, hey, my name's Vanessa, I can manipulate fate now. It stopped being a thing. Like Black Clover obviously is so much more powerful than My Hero Academia, which isn't a big deal, but no, it's just something to take note of. Who do you see dying at the end of Wano besides Kaido? I mean, none of the main cast. I don't really know, because like I see Kaido maybe dying. The thing about it is like a lot of the characters are built up to kind of like become a crew member of Luffy's crew or his alliance. So it's kind of hard to determine like who exactly is going to die. It wouldn't even surprise me if Kaido lived. It's obviously shonen, like general shonen, like characters don't just die that often. Chainsaw Man, seemingly like 99% of the characters are going to die every fucking arc. But for the most part in Wano, I don't think the main cast is definitely not going to die. I don't think anybody important is going to die. I think they're just going to get beat up and then like unconscious. I don't see anybody really dying. I think John was dumber Jamie this season. Yeah, it was all just a big mess. I think the Hound story was consistent. Yeah, it was good. I like the Hound. For some reason, Lightspeed characters are rare in anime. I mean, it depends, because a lot of there's like times where characters will have a crazy feat and people figure out how fast it is versus like straight up statements, because like straight up statements and it's like, yeah, this character, his power is like he can move fast. Licton or like Patry and Lumiere, it's like, yeah, they can move faster than light. Okay, That's really crazy to drop there. There was a character introduced in UQ Holder that can also move faster than light. Just last chapter actually. I'm wondering if we're gonna get anything like that in Fairy Tail. Anybody like straight up like we have some. There's some crazy speed feats, but there's like no light speed movement. Like Fairy Tail, like there's a lot of crazy. There's a lot of like crazy like power stuff and some weird hacks and abilities, but we haven't got any like the fastest thing in Fairy Tail is definitely Irene's meteor. We haven't. Well, there should be a time frame from the anime soon because Kirishima is overseeing it all, so that time frame should be consistent. We should be able to use that. I doubt it's going to be light speed unless it's like, hey, it took a tenth of a second or something ridiculous. It'll probably take a couple seconds and there'll be some big number. I don't think it'll be light speed. I mean, we could easily get something this arc. I have a prediction that Selene, the Moon Dragon goddess, is going to live on the moon, and because there's one thing about Fairy Tail that we know. The moon has its own magic. We know that from back in Galuna Island. The moon itself has a level of magic on it. We don't know what from. It might not even be the moon itself. It might just be from Selene. So it would make sense that she's just up there on the moon. And just imagine, like, again, like, something happens where, okay, she has to come from the moon to the ground, and she just pretty much 1 second is on the 1 second is on the moon, bam, right in front of everybody. I feel like she's going to be really fast. Because that's one thing we haven't seen yet. It's a really fast dragon. Because we've got Merspobia, who's got a wide level of control over his power. And just like the fact that he can make a giant layer of water over him to manipulate as he sees fit throughout the fight, giving a level of utility. Igneous seems raw power. Aldoron is seemingly, at least what we know so far, raw size. And we don't know where these other ones. I think one of them will be speed based, and I feel like Selene is going to be the best bet for that. Just giving it out there. Very, very curious. I think a sword can become canon in Grand Sword mode. Well, that's cool. It's multi-weapon kind of thing. Like was it Gun Lance in Monster Hunter? Oh, sorry, my throat a little bit. I meant to get water before the stream, but I forgot to put my water filter in my fridge a couple hours ago, so it's not cold enough. I don't want to drink warm water. It should be good. I'll stream for a little bit longer. I don't want to stream too long because I'm gonna try and leave early enough tomorrow to try and beat that rush hour of traffic. Or usually in like the mid afternoon, between 2 and 4. It's a 5 or 6 hour drive to my parents. And there's like an extra 45. If I get caught in the rush hour, it's an extra 45 minutes of literally moving 2 miles. 2 miles takes 45 minutes. And I've got caught in it the last 3 times that I went down there. And it fucking sucks. And I'm taking my cat because I'm not going to leave her here by myself. So she's going to be mad she's either going to sleep or be mad at me the whole drive there. And I have an extra 45 minutes of my cat pissed off at me is not going to go well. So hopefully she has no idea. I got her a new it's a nice kennel, but she was playing around in it. I don't think she knows what it's for. She's probably gonna hate it after tomorrow, so that'll be okay. I'll take her for walks though when I get there, so she'll be happy. I'll probably take her. I got her leash, so I'll probably have a halfway point, stop and just walk around with her. Maybe go and just take her to some grass where she can roll around or some shit. Maybe. I might just go nonstop and get there. I feel like that'd be better for her. Anyway, getting distracted, talking about fucking plans. I kind of thought that we would be at least have Charmy join the fight. Oh no, Charmy has nothing she could really do in here. I mean, she has a little bit. Obviously, the way that this cool, weird, big wolf, eating magic is. But I feel like it would be, too OP for her. Because it would just, add, that's too big of a boost for Charmy. Because it's has a buff. He and Oscar are strong, but we know just them, they're not capable of really doing much to the devil, even while he's not serious. Whereas them as a duo, they're still very powerful, but they also have really high level support from Patri, Sekri, Licht, and Lumir to kind of add to that. And Asta is, even though he's going to be a key player in this because of the anti-magic swords, he by himself is not even close to, able to fight with this guy. This guy's still beyond what they're capable of. So that kind of adds a different kind of spin on what's going on. I don't think Charmy there would be really much of a thing. I can move faster than stupid. No, it's not it's not really like stupid fandom. It was said multiple times, like including by Yami. There's the fact that the elements in Black Clover behave like real elements. Like we know that obviously like even though that Patri was ridiculously above Gosh was able to reflect his light magic with his mirror magic because mirrors reflective surfaces and light, as well as we saw that with Nozzle and Patri, and we know that Dark Elf Patri was absurdly like stronger than Nozzle, and the only reason he was able to again was because his power in general countered his, and that just kind of like added an extra layer to it, and it's like it's kind of like if we're talking about fairy tale, like I've seen like there's some parts like I'll argue like with people like back when Guild Arts actually reacted to lasers in the Ice Trail spinoff, and that was impressive for him. Like he reacted to lasers. Some people will try and argue like, oh, it's magic lasers, whatnot. Like they were from machines, so I don't think they were magic. We already know that there's some fairly high tech in the fairy tale world, not like widespread. If you've read the I was gonna say the Fairy Girls manga spinoff, which does have some high tech in it. But I guess I could just say Wall. I mean, Wall's pretty fucking high tech, and the fact that it just seems like it's something capable. Guild Arts, like it wouldn't surprise me. Guild Arts capable of such, but then you look at something like Sting's, where Sting, his element has been associated with light before. He's got his roar is clearly a beam. It's seemingly fast, concentrated. Natsu called it a laser, and some people are like, oh, I guess Natsu's light speed for dodging the laser. I wouldn't agree with that because the difference is Sting's isn't really light. When he says white magic, it's kind of like holy magic. That's why it has the holy attribute. It's a different thing. It has light involved, but it's not just light. Because dragon elements are superior to normal elements, whether that be the natural element or just general. The only time we've ever seen just like an element like in general be stronger is Godslayer elements, but like Godslayer versions seem to just have like a different like weirdness to them, where even if the person is weaker, like what we saw with Orga and Laxus, even though Laxus is way stronger than Orga, the elemental potency of Godslag element seems just to be a general thing. It's very kind of weird the way that Godslang has always been. That's just what we've seen consistently with it. Because like Zenkro was stronger than Natsu, but his fire was way beyond like how strong he was, and it just was like the elemental gap, especially. It just always kind of like been a thing for him. Whereas oh my god, where was I going with this? Oh my god, where was I going with this? I don't even remember. Fuck. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was talking about the difference for like, talking about like real elements and like magical ones. So like when you look again like Stings, I wouldn't agree unless if we get straight like Light Dragon or Light Dragon Slayer, yeah, then I would agree. The fact that it's white magic and not light magic, I would say that Stings is not comparable to like something light speed, because it wouldn't make sense otherwise. So at least for like especially like a lightning dragon, could you imagine a lightning dragon or dragon slayer? It's like, yeah, you can eat lightning, but it's like, well, what would it matter if you're not fast enough to do it? It's just something to think about. Tyrion can't do his job. Yeah, pretty much. Have you ever watched Bakugan? I watched the show. I never finished it. Morph weapons are so cool. Yeah, they're pretty fun. With what was it? Braun being the master of the coin, 16 will be broke within a week. Yeah, pretty much. I didn't like the ending of Game of Thrones. Bothered the hell out of me. The only thing I liked about the last episode is that that Ghost finally got pet, and he looked happy. He's a good dog. Any that will ever see Raya go all out in a fight because his track record is looking too good. I mean, Raya got taken out pretty heavy already, and he got fucked. We'll probably see more of his capabilities in the future. I'm still predicting that the way I see it, the elves are either going to, depending on if they stay or leave, they're either going to become a force for the kingdom, they're going to be kind of like a united kingdom, or they're going to leave and kind of go establish their own kingdom. They're going to be like, you guys can have this, we're going to go try and, rebuild and restart. The fact that Goldry and Rebchi are getting They got all these magic items and tools from the Shadow Palace, and they're now leaving. It would make complete sense for, if the Clover had all these elves, like, oh, we've got all these elves now. Look how much stronger our kingdom is, even though we lost Julius. But then it'd be like, well, how is the Diamond Kingdom or any of the other kingdoms going to compete? How are they going to be that strong? Oh, well, Goldry and Reptree just went and sold all these extremely powerful magic, items. It's not, and we already know they got a bunch from back in the dungeon arc. They got a bunch of different stuff to add to their arsenal, and we know like the gap between like having a magic tool is versus not. I mean, look at Sally. Sally Lily has one that will for 10 minutes will make her 10 times stronger. A 10 times multiplier for 10 minutes. That's ridiculous, and that's just and what was the description for fucking what's his tits for gosh, I don't remember exactly the description. Is what did his I think he could like double his power. I'd have to go back and look at what exactly his was too. For his magic eye. I remember he had people look in it, and then I think he could like copy their power. I don't know, or their power level, magic quantity. I don't know, I'll have to go back and look. But otherwise, we know that magic tools are a huge benefactor within Black Clover. There's the huge bonus because they can go to anybody who gets them. Who do you think is the high tier teamwork of shonen anime for me? For me, it's Black Clover, Naruto, Boruto. The best teamwork, that's going to go right to Yugimoto and goddamn Seto Kaiba. Yugi / Atem. Alright, their teamwork, too good. Too good. Dragon Slayer magic, Devil Slayer magic, or God Slayer magic. Oh, I like Dragon Slayer the most. Devil Slayer, God Slayer seems like the best one if you don't want to turn into a dragon. Or don't want to get morphed. Because dragon slaying magic slowly will turn you into a dragon, and devil slaying magic will seemingly slowly turns you into a demon, or at least like at the heart of a demon, because we know it was slowly affecting Gray. But with God slaying is definitely seems the weakest. It seems like it's the strongest at the start, but it has the weakest end game, because we don't know even really, we've never even seen like a powerful God Slayer in the grand scheme of things, because Zenkro died, Orga's never going to be relevant again. He's not relevant, and Sharia doesn't have magic anymore. She can't do anything, so that kind of like writes them out. We only have one Devil Slayer with Gray. I wish we'd get more. I'm actually hoping that we get maybe like one of the Dragon Eaters be a part Dragon Slayer, part Devil Slayer, and just see them merged. I think that'd be really cool. I want to see some switches in between them. Something. We need at least a couple more Devil Slayers. Maybe there'll be one inside of Liberius. I think that would make sense if they had some Devil Slayers. At least one, because that's one of those things that you could easily have throughout the series. Like if Hiroshima wanted to keep going after this, like even after 100 Years Quest, like if you wanted to do a next generation, because we know there's been at least the designs of some of the younger kids, for the future, and it'd be really easy just to be like, okay, I want to have one of these characters be really powerful, but I don't want to really give anything about it. Bam, slap on a type of Slayer, and by default they're going to be at least a challenge because they have Slayer powers. So that's going to be cool going down the line, and it's something they could use way more, because now you also can just have I want a Slayer mage, but I don't know what element it is. Okay, I've got all these different elements unused. What am I going to use? It's just pretty cool. Demon God Dragon slaying anyone, that's too much. I mean, probably what they're going to need against Natsu one day. Brand being weird, King was weird. That one I kind of understood. I thought that one was fine. Patriot versus White Shadow Dragon Sting. Well, Sting should be able to eat his magic, right? Because it's dark light, he should be fine eating it. Who do you? But that's also one of the things in Black Clover is I guess at least the difference is Slayers are generally at least highly resistant to their element. Whereas in Black Clover, it doesn't seem to be directly the case. Like, you could be a fire person, same we get hit by fire. There's a resistance level, like general resistance, but it doesn't seem the same when it's somebody else's magic. Do you think that Queen was one shot, or I've seen there's been a lot of talk about that, whether or not Queen is going to get back up. So the thing is, it's bad either way. It's bad either way, because either Queen's going to get up, and Big Mom, who's a Yonko, could not one-shot a goddamn commander. Or it's going to be... And then you have fucking... what was the guy's name? Ashura, the really fat samurai dude, almost like one shot Jack. Like he slashed Jack up. Jack was like, "Oh fuck!" He's like all sweating bullets. He's bleeding out. He's like staggering. And Big Mom should be way stronger, even though Big Mom's a joke. She's been a big meme. She should still be strong enough to one shot like pointless fucking characters like Queen. And if Queen doesn't get up, then his character, he's gone. He's done. There's no real hype going to be around him if they've got characters that can just keep one shotting him. I don't know. It's gonna be a fun time. I don't think he's gonna get back up. That's just what I'm going with. No, Shelly got her magic back at the end of the series. Remember, I think it was Hiramashima like made a comment about like if she tries really hard, she could maybe do it again. But I feel like it'd be like Magneto at the end of the Last Stand, where it's like, okay, he literally had like decades of manipulation over his magnetism mutation, and like at the very end of Last Stand, he could move like a chess piece, like wiggle it. That's what I feel like Sherry would just be kind of like. She'd be able to do like basic magic, kind of like what Mirror Jane was at the start of the series when she was kind of all like fucked up with magic. She'd probably be able to like do like magic bartending or some shit, but I doubt she'd be able to fight anymore. That would kind of like hurt the whole like drawback of Third Origin. Like obviously it'd be like, yeah, it's pretty much like pulling your prime out. It's messing with like you throughout time. So it's gonna mess with your body. Omnimon Merciful Mode is unstoppable. I haven't seen Merciful Mode. I'll have to look that up. I know Omnimon. I haven't seen Merciful Mode. I think it's gonna absorb fire near the end of the series at the strongest. That's cool. Elemental absorption is interesting. Anyway, I'm probably gonna end this stream. Obviously a little shorter this week because this unprecedented time. Hopefully next week we'll get back to normal time, normal stream. I'm definitely excited to see some of the chapters coming out because Jujutsu Kaisen probably is going to be moving closer into a new arc, which is going to be exciting. The last Sayuki should be moving it around an area of whether or not it's going to get canceled, so that's a little bit nail bitey. And just all around like seeing some HD scans of like Black Clover and Chainsaw Man are going to be a lot of fun. And also Tokyo Shinobi Squad. I'm glad to see how that goes and see how that's going to be progressing. Third Origin. Well, yeah, Thor. I guess you can compare those because it was time manipulation. It was pretty much pulling in your prime, but it messes you up for the future. So it's fucking with your literal like container of magic itself. Because we know that's what second generation or second origin was. It was opening up this like kind of like latent that magical part of your body. Which I'm wondering if like some of the characters in the series, it's either probably unlocked it at some point along the way without realizing it. Or they could still get it, but it'd be kind of hard. Not a lot of people know that Ultier, is existent. The new fairy tale generation even possible. They're fighting dragon gods, so how could you top that? Oh, you could just do like different creatures. Like it doesn't have to be dragons. It could be other magical creatures, or you can just have like newer dragons. They could have younger generations dragons. Like, could you imagine this? I talked about this. So back when I started doing the channel a year ago. One of the things I called the dragon gods. I said elder dragons, which is pretty much what the dragon gods are. But one of the things I talked about is like because Acnologia is gone, you could have more dragons back. There could be more dragons, just normal ones, not dragon gods. Just like, oh yeah, there's a handful of dragons existing out in the world, and dragons are so powerful, you could literally have them. It'd be like a country, like having like, oh, this country has 3 dragons. You pretty much just like worship these dragons. You treat them like royalty, and they're pretty much like WMDs for your country. And they could be like stockpiles, or you could have some up and coming villain. Like imagine seeing like a character become Zareth over the course of the story. Something of that manner. Like this extremely powerful character. That becomes like some big, huge endgame kind of guy. Maybe like some other kid that maybe was part of the guild that got kicked out or something. I don't know. There's still stuff they could do. It doesn't have to be dragons. It could just be other like crazy powerful things. But as well as the fact that Fairy Tail's lore only goes back as 400 plus years. They could easily be thousands of years old. Then there could always be stronger creatures and beings along the story. There's always going to be like enemies showing up. It just depends on how it's handled. But other than that, glad to have you hanging out for the stream. Hopefully next week again at a normal, consistent time, we'll be able to go a little bit longer. Hopefully you guys all have a good weekend. Father's Day is Sunday, so look forward to that. And I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and again, a great time. Look forward to the HD manga chapters from Viz this weekend. And Fairy Tail, we're going to have to wait, what's today, Friday? Oh my god, another 11 days. But other than that, thanks for showing up, guys.